Hello and welcome to another Bankcode Swift programming tutorial here in the Bankcode Swift programming series. Today we're going to be continuing our table view discussion. This is part 5. I know we've had a lot of parts, but there's a lot with table views, and we're just going to pick up where we left off in part 4. So if you haven't watched that, certainly watch it so you can follow along. So we just created our variable called nib up in the view did load. We're just going to go table view. We're going to register the nib that we created, and we're going to pass in nib. And for the cell reuse identifier, cell. So make sure to put that the same one that we used below. Now we've got something. And now so basically we've just registered specifically this. I do apologize. This should be item cell because it should match the nib file over here, because that's how it's going to work. So I do apologize for that. That was my bad. And so now we're going to actually set the information, or set the cell stuff. So the next change we're going to make is we already changed the specific casting, but we're going to specify this also as a grocery item table view cell, just so that we can actually use our autocomplete and stuff like that with it. And so now if you see we go cell. We've got all of our information here. So now what we can do is we can go primary label.text, and we can set that here. And so basically we're going to replace all of their stuff with ours. So as you can see, we got tell cell dot. Oh, actually, this is our detail label. And then we've made this our primary label. And basically here, where we set our image, instead of image view, right, we're going to be setting our item image to our cell image. And then the last thing we need to do is, well, we don't need to do anything with the text view theoretically, but I'm going to go cell.text field.text and set that to 1. And that might not. Oh. There we go, sorry. May I make that optional. And so now if we go into if we launch the app, we've basically used our custom file here. I'm just going to save this. Oh, and we hit a breakpoint. Sorry about that, 1 sec. Sorry about that. So the one, I just had to check what I did. We have to remove this register class method because we have a new class that we're using, and that's our new one. And then if you run that, as you can see, our table view will show our images, and obviously they're pretty massive right now. And that's something that we obviously got to work out with our auto layout. But we have our custom cell styles, and obviously you might notice them missing, but we can scroll and then we can get them. And we're just going to need to work that out in auto layout. So I'm going to first thing I'm going to do is go to content view. I'm going to go to editor. I'm going to go resolve layout issue. I'm going to clear all the constraints so that there's nothing anymore. There shouldn't be anything anymore. And you got to sort of think ahead of time like what constraints you want. Sometimes this works. Editor, resolve all layout issues, and we're going to reset to suggested constraints, and that doesn't always work, but we'll try it this time, and sometimes it will. Okay, so that obviously didn't work. It can be finicky when you ask it to add its own constraints, so we're going to remove all of these. Okay, and so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. I'm going to set down here. I'm going to set the aspect ratio just for this, and I'm going to set the aspect ratio just because we always want it to be a square, but it doesn't exactly matter where it is. So obviously it's a 1-to-1 aspect ratio. I did that below. And so now I'm going to go pin the leading space, I'm going to pin the top space, and it's still orange because it needs to finish it. Editor pin the bottom space. And that is everything that it needs because it knows, oh, no, it's still orange. For some reason, it's missing something at things. I want us to just update those real quick. So we'll just satisfy it by me fixing that 42 by 42. Because it's not a specified size, obviously, anymore, but it knows it's going to be the aspect ratio. It's going to be the same height. It's going to be able to tell the height because it's going to fill the top to bottom, basically. And then it's going to fill how wide it is to even that. And then we're going to take the text, and we're going to actually set the horizontal spacing between the text and the UI image. I'm going to do that as well. And then I'm going to set the horizontal spacing between these two items. So it's going to keep them the same width apart. And then I'm going to set the primary text, the editor, pin top space to super view. I'm going to pin this as the bottom space to super view. And then I'm going to pin the vertical spacing between these two items here. And that's not entirely going to work. And I know that for now. But, you know, it's a little bit better. Because, you know, as you can see, we have these. For now, I'm not going to go into more like resolving layout issues. I'm going to save that for the next video where we specify this, but it would be a little bit better if the images were the same size. But obviously, the issue now is that the cells are, you know, they're being resized based on the image. And that's not really what we want. Now, there's one thing we could do which would sort of break it, and we could set a specified width. And if we did that, in theory, it should be the same size. And the reason that worked, just simply before we let go of the video, is instead of being sized based on the image because it was a flexible size. So by fixing that particular constraint, we knew it couldn't get any bigger than that. And so that's that, and that fixed it for us. But that also means based on the device, the cell's going to be the same, 42 pixels high. Now, I personally like that. You might not, and there's obviously flexible ways to do it as well using auto layout. But we're going to leave it here for now because we have our complete thing where we can update our quantities of how many we want here. We can't exactly dismiss our keyboards yet. If you're not here, and then just 5. Okay, we'll buy 2 cheeses, 3 steaks, 1 baking soda, 1 flour, 2 cartons of eggs, and 2 gallons of milk. And then that's that. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Sorry, a little bit scattered with this just because some issues come up. But I hope you found it helpful, and we'll continue our next video with the final part to this table view tutorial, where we'll talk a little bit more of like how it moved from a table view to another view. And so I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.